What up, world? It's your main man, Corey SB in the building.
And I'm Shekinah SB.
And you tuned in for another episode of
My Wife and I.
Where we talk about love and all the great things about being together.
New love, old love, and how to stay in love.
And today, y'all, we got some special guests in the building. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Have my brother-in-law slide through here today. And I'm going to let him do the introducing today. You know what I mean? I'm going to let him take it from here. You know what's going on. You know?
Yes, brother.
Brother-in-law, slide down and tell us what's going on, man.
Well, howdy do. Great to be here. You know, happy
Yes,
to have a seat at the table.
Yeah. Glad to bring you back to the table, man.
Glad to have you in the number.
Yeah.
Oh, do I introduce myself?
You want to introduce?
No, she hasn't. I don't.
Oh, gee, yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
We're gonna let you
We're
take
vibing
it
off of this.
I thought you were gonna do it, so that's
Well, I don't know. Oh, you know, I remember now.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. Are
We're gonna slide back to them later.
Are we gonna send?
Yeah, I got my brother-in-law in the building. My brother-in-law gonna take it from here.
Okay. I'm being extra. I'm being a Leo right now.
You're always being
extra.
Always.
Well, hello everybody. I'm Lamar, of course, the brother-in-law. You know, my lovely sister over here, my good brother-in-law right here, good man over here. You know, this right here, this lovely, beautiful black queen right here, Miss Tila Grant, that I'm happy to have by my side at the moment.
Come on.
Yes.
Tila, welcome to the show. How you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. Man. You know, before we be moving this thing, man, we want to talk about this first of all, introducing who Miss Tila is, because she's that, moving around here. And she done got some things going on, because I got to holler after the show, because I got to do something that I found out recently that she was a part of, doing some dancing.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So I might get some pointers from her, what's going on. But Miss Tila, tell us a little bit about you, where you come from, your background, if you don't mind, so the people get to know Miss Tila before we get diving off into the situation.
Sure. I'll give y'all just kind of like the brief little version. So I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I went to school in Georgia, got family there, and then I moved over here because I got family here. I have a background in TV news, so I've anchored, I've reported, and produced news. And now I am a communications director, and so I do a lot of things.
It's given bio. Yeah, that was a bio. It's a snapshot, not a biography.
I'll put the link to the book down below.
That's what I'm talking about. Man, we want to welcome y'all to My Wife and I, man. And of course, y'all see who this beautiful lady is over here. To my left, y'all right, however you want to situate it. That's my beautiful wife, my queen. I just need the rest of it out of there. Need the rest of it. But y'all get the point, man. Y'all been with us, and we want to thank you. First of all, I want to give a shout out to the Quick Trip family. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Our people at Quick Trip that are listening, especially my guy there, who, man, every time I walk into Quick Trip, he's always talking about the fact that he's watching the show and he loves what's going on, man. And he said he even thought about getting back into a relationship based on it. So
motivating people.
We're bringing people.
We're bringing love
into
back.
the pool.
It is. And that's what we do, y'all. We talk about this on this show, whether you're single, whether you're married, whether you're in a relationship. We're just talking about all the things that are compounded around being in a relationship. And I think my wife brought some excellent points up today. Maybe you want to take us through that right quick?
Yeah, so I guess we can all say right now, we're all in our 30s, at least this side of the table is in their 30s. Somebody will be crossing over from our 30 club the next couple of weeks. So, but we'll still go ahead and honor it. But all of us, are
right
in the
now
30s.
I'm still in the club.
You're still in the club,
baby. Y'all like that. Still in my 30s, y'all. Got 2 weeks left.
So with that, I wanted to ask, I know how dating in my 30s has been for me, and now I'm married. But I want to find out, how has it been dating in your 30s? What is it like dating in your 30s?
That sounds tough.
Yeah. I know.
It's a deep breath. Sit back, y'all. Get the popcorn ready, y'all. I'm about to get interested.
I mean, honestly, though, dating in general, I feel like it's just tough anyway, right? But dating in your 30s is next level, because I think things seem to feel like a little more serious in your 30s. You're kind of looking a little bit more for that partner that you going to take into your 40s, your 50s, your 60s. So I think the stakes are higher for sure.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Oh, yes.
It's crucial,
Wow.
I guess. It's crucial out here in these streets. Hard.
Here's a question I want to ask, and I want to bounce this off of you all and see what you think. Because you always hear this thing about, and especially as we're talking about 30s, that women mature faster. And I do believe to a degree that it's very, very true. But it's more that because of the mental capacity or the fact that for women, their biological clock for a lot of things it's really important to them, because in the 30s a lot of things start to fade away from them versus the value that they have when they're in their 20s and they're really, really beautiful and they have a lot of leverage into the type of man that they want, and of course and I think it's hard to digest that, because a lot of women are hearing now, when you're 35, you ain't found nobody, you pretty much need to go ahead
and see, that's the problem. I think it's like what's his name, Kevin Samuels,
the Godfather.
Is that
The
that
Godfather.
mindset is the problem?
The Godfather. So my question to y'all is, do you think that's more or less why women's rush to at a younger age to kind of get off the market, find a husband, have kids, and all that stuff? Or is it just a capacity thing where women are just really, really more mature than us, more mature than me at a certain point in life?
I think women are more mature than men. That's true. And I think we are also thinking about it. So I think both of those things are true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because once we're born, we're women, our time clock starts.
Mm-hmm.
Like our biological clock starts. For y'all, y'all can be 99 years old on your deathbed and you can still go ahead and make a baby to live on. For us,
To live on.
and
Some do though. Some do. So that's a real thing right there.
For real.
I knew an 8-year-old.
So
I had a 2-year-old.
That's real.
So
Changing both of their diapers. Yeah, come on here, boy. Your mama got to change both our diapers now. Take it over here. I'm sorry. Go ahead. That made me think, 'cause y'all right. It do be some old dudes.
Yeah.
But it does become like a time clock for you. Like, especially even like me and you, we just newly married. The first thing people say, when's the baby's coming? When the baby's coming?
Yeah.
And being at my age of turning 35, getting married on my 35th birthday, that's where my faith comes in, because I told God, hey, okay, I want to be married by 35 or I don't want to get married. I got married on my 35th birthday.
Wow.
So it made me go back to the other negotiations I made with God, especially when it came to kids. And I was like, look, I want to do it once. And I want one of each. And now I'm kind of like, oh, wait a minute, God. You came through real quick on the last one. Let me go ahead and get that email back. Let me get that email back.
Let me tell you something. She was on this twin thing.
We were.
And so recently we had been doing some babysitting. And I think one not hadn't made two yet. And after that first week of babysitting, she came back, she said, I don't know, maybe we just do one. I said, oh, you changed your mind. Yeah.
And that baby's gonna do it.
Because everybody was hyping the twins. And I was like, why is everybody pushing these twins? She's like, no, baby, we need twins. And then that week later, she was like, one's cool. I think two are overrated.
The Lord's will. One is good. One is good.
Because I would call her back, Lamar. I would call her and she'd be at the house. I'd be like, are you good? Yeah, I am. I said, I tell you what, I'm going to get for you clock in. I'm going to come over to the house because I heard it in your voice. I'm going to take over the ship.
But I guess it's been a while for you, because you've had all mine.
With Lamar, and that's the thing though. With Lamar and the foster kids, that's made to where even a stranger's kid is not a stranger's kid to us, because we took care of so many strangers' kids that it's just natural. You just automatically want to love this little person,
right,
and give them everything. Especially with kids who are in the foster system, especially with us working at the children's home. I can remember a little boy I had where they making fun of him, and they told him he was ashy and he was a little dry. And so in the morning, I worked the overnight shift. I make sure we do a whole head to toe, and I'm like, okay, you brush your teeth. All right, go in there, brush your teeth. All right, throw our lotion on. All right, we got the chapstick on. We're good for the day. And then he kept doing that every morning, and he's like, okay, Miss Shay, I brushed my teeth. You want to smell it? Nope, I trust you.
No, come here. I got something for you.
It's a good day. It's a good day. I saw you do it, so we're good. So it just became natural. So even with us having that baby, it's just me working, and then it's a little different when it's a 1-year-old and he's just like, ah! And you're on the phone like, do you want to buy a car warranty? Oh, sorry, I got a kid.
I was going to say, what we were talking about before, like, I think, if anything, the women that want to have kids is the one that's like, there's like a little bit more pressure, I would say. for like that biological clock. Because you got someone they don't really care. It's just like, like it's not their goal. But for the ones that's like, what, I do want, to have a kid. I want to have some things established. So yeah, I'm more serious when you're, in your 30s, because it's like, we talk about like complications and stuff like that, or just a certain risk.
True.
Even though, but I feel like it's more pressure, for women. Like with men, it's different for us, because we can,
I still, hey, Doc, can you go? All right, yeah, baby, we can get another out of there.
I also think it's a mindset change. I feel like in your 20s, we feeling more young and free and do your thing, and you got all this time, right? So I think in your 30s, you're like, oh, wait a minute, time is, because
Exactly.
I've had this conversation with somebody the other day. We were talking about midlife. Some people think midlife is like 50. Most people are not living to 100. Midlife is not 50. Midlife is really? Yes. So exactly. So that's the thing.
Like, hey,
you at your midlife right now.
I'm tired. How long I been on the job? I'm gonna call him today, let him know, give me my health benefits or something.
Right.
I agree with that.
So I think.
Do y'all feel social media has changed the aspect of dating, like you say, in your 30s, in a negative or positive way?
I'm gonna say negative for sure.
Negative.
Yeah.
I guess it kind of depends. Because I have friends who are older than me, and they're doing like Facebook dating. Facebook did that dating stuff. Like, yeah, they do Facebook dating. Yeah,
it's crazy.
And you use your profile.
You shouldn't know.
No, I shouldn't. You're right. I'm saying before you, I still didn't know that.
I didn't know about it either.
Right.
Because you're using your profile in order to do the match, versus like already setting one up. Like your profile's already there, so I guess you can just like throw it in the mix and stuff. But like, I don't know. I feel like I'm not like this online dating person at all. But I would say that like people that I knew that were doing all that, like dating on Facebook or whatever apps they got out there, like I wouldn't say that they were more serious going into it. It's kind of like, okay, let me go on a few dates. Let's do this. Cause I got friends that I'm going off pulling off their experiences, because that's not me. But no shade to anyone that does. But it's just like, it was like you're going more consistent, like trying to find these people and weeding through these profiles and stuff. And then you get in these relationships and it's just not, like I don't know if you really know what you're looking for in your 30s. Because I'm sorry, if we're in our 20s, just like you're saying, we're having fun, we're doing this, we're doing that. We shouldn't really still be doing that in our 30s. Yes, we can still live and stuff, but it's like, come on now. We kind of got to buckle some things down, because in your 30s, you should at least know your direction of your career. Yeah. Know what type of money you want to be making, or your goals. You should have more goals set. And some people ain't doing that in their 30s,
But I'll also say about social media, though, is social media, it always makes people feel like they're not there yet. You watch social media and such has all these things, and you feel like they 30 and I should have this too, and I'm in the career. So I think it's a lot of like, we watch social media and we compare ourselves to other, and I think that creates that pressure of what you should be doing, who you should be with. We see that like relationship goals, hashtag everywhere, and you think, so I think those types of things about social media is what adds that extra.
Because it's not being, but it also is like you're not being. Like we're going off of like a fantasy versus what we're seeing. Versus, okay, we can do, this little quick pick. Okay, come on, let's go. And then we put down, okay, you did this and where's the reality in it? Like no one's really bringing that reality to it. It's just all about a pick, a status post. Like, no, it can hurt it.
Yeah. I think it's done both. I think the one thing it has helped us is because now you can date outside your region of life. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You can get online and find women that you probably would have never had access to, because we didn't have it back then. You know what I'm saying? You just had to meet the women in your town. And if you live close enough to a big city, you drove a big city. Yeah. And which was still tough, because if you were from the country and you didn't have that flex, you didn't have those resources, you go into the city, what city women not live? You don't get your butt back down to that little country down there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I think what it has hurt, and I think, we can all assess this now, is it hurt the level of communication. Because I remember before meeting my wife, I was meeting women that actually didn't want to have verbal conversation. Like,
it was all
I'd be
text.
like, hey, we swipe, we be compatible. And then I'd be like, yo, here's my number so we can chat. we can just text on here.
Mm-hmm.
So at first I'm like, okay, she might not think it's weird. But 3 weeks passed and
That's a red flag.
I'm like, hey man, listen, I'm not gonna keep talking to you on this thing. You know what I'm saying? First of all, I might be talking to a whole other person because I've been catfishing folks. Because I'm telling you, listen, and my wife will tell you, one of the first things was when I, cause we met online, and when it hit, the first thing after we talked, I sent my number and said, hey, let's have a conversation. I don't know. Then when she called me, I said, FaceTime.
Oh,
We need to get all this out the way first.
And I'm like, I don't have no makeup on. I have my bonnet on.
All right.
I was like, well, this is it. You know, I'm just taking it.
And I
so you're comfortable doing that?
I was at that time because the thing was, well,
I
babe,
knew you was.
okay, the first night.
Wait, baby, don't get pulled into something. You like your pulled in.
First night. Because we talked on the phone and then we were texting back and forth. And then you did, I think I was sitting in the bed and we were talking on the phone.
Yeah.
And then that's when you're like, okay, I'm gonna FaceTime you right now. And I'm like, wait, what? No, I don't have nothing going on. Oh, well,
Yeah.
okay.
Because my thing was, her picture already showed me how beautiful she was. Everything else was aligning. I need to talk to you so we can see how this interaction is once we see each other in this pure form, in this natural form. You know what I'm saying? So whatever you look like, first of all, because you're not going to look like that every day waking up out of bed. And we're going to pursue this to the end. If our intentions right now, from this point on, is to work towards spending the rest of our life together, then I need to see you.
I want to see. And I said I want to see you in all forms.
Yes.
But I did ask. I asked. And I was met with, I don't know, I ain't got it. I'm not, my hair ain't done. I don't care about that. I want to see you in your natural state because I believe.
Go ahead.
Because I'm curious about this. I'm pretty sure he is too. What is y'all issue with that? What is the issue?
Because I mean, how can I say this? Like, I don't know, because I don't know. I don't know. I just, go ahead.
I mean, okay. So I get where you're coming from with it, especially when it's something that's new. You want to see. Whenever you see me, I want you to see me at my highest peak, at my highest peak, and this and this. Now, that's how I felt at first with him, especially with him. But then after that night, and then he, of course, fell asleep on the phone with me, like I don't know how many times. But after that moment, I actually came over here. And I think I had braids. There was a couple weeks going on. And I left. I went back to your house. Mm-hmm. And I took my braids out. Like, with the time, I think he was at work. And I took my braids out. And when I met him, I had braids. So that's why I was like, when we did the FaceTime, it was okay because I had braids. Yeah. The only difference was I didn't have my lashes on. I didn't have makeup on. But I still felt, beautiful. And so that's why I wasn't a big deal. But gradually going into it, when I took my braids down, I came back over with my hair straight. I was kind of seeing his reaction just to see. And it was like the best reaction. Like, he loves it. Like, I try to keep my hair straight because it's like, I love when your hair is straight. Like, I love when this, and I love that.
And I will point that out. That's the difference too. When people actually tell you when you're not made up or your hair is not done, when they tell you, wow, you still, that's really affirming as well.
I did that.
That's really affirming as well.
But how do we do it if we never see you?
Was that shady?
I was just saying, just in general.
I said no, because my thing was that what I really said was that I always want to be wild. I always want to be wild. So I want to see you in your natural state because I want to know what new things you're going to always bring and surprise me because I can be like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful today. And then you get out the car like today. And you look good. You look really good. I'm like, she looks really good today. Even though I may not have said that. But I was like, she looks really good today. You were just glowing. And then we go get ready to come over here. And she done applied all this other makeup. I'm like, oh, she really doing it now. Like she doing it even more. Like, I was wowed. I'm sorry I didn't say that. But I was. Like, I want to always be blown away. I mean, I can only blow you away by my style. I say that's it. Like, this is it. Yeah. But with you, it's more like, I love seeing that. I love seeing you with makeup on, without makeup on. I don't want to say hair nappy, hair not nappy. Taking this out, taking that out, whatever. I like seeing it. So that's why I was like, hey, I want to see this. Like, I want to see all aspects because I will always identify every aspect of beauty with you.
But you have to also, with one thing that you were saying, like, you didn't say it. That's one big thing.
Yeah.
What made Corey stand out from anybody else that I've ever dated was the fact that anything that he was thinking, he was coming out and telling me. even in that moment. That way, in the moments when I didn't feel my most pretty self, I held on to the fact like, oh, you know what?
The positive affirmations.
Yes, and he does that. He actually does my positive affirmations. Like that's what makes it to where it's a day where I feel like I don't want to put no makeup on. I feel like I look rough, but he wants me to go somewhere with him. And I'm like, well, I want to be done up. And he's like, babe, well, come on, let's just go. Like, take for instance, when we went and saw Fred Hammond. We got to meet Fred Hammond. That was like a quick second thing. Like I still have my wedding wig on. Yeah. And it's still nappy. And I didn't have time to put, makeup on and stuff like that. But
that's the same way it does in the
water.
Go.
Yeah, same way it was in the water.
Right. But they had on.
And for me, like, and a little bit of me was like, oh, I'm about to go see like this person who I just love. I've loved him since a child. And I finally get to meet him, but I don't like how I feel. So for us as women, like that might bring our confidence down when we don't feel like that. And that's something I expressed to Corey because I know he doesn't like when I'm like, he's like, I love you natural, how you are, when you don't have makeup on, when you have makeup on. But I know he prefers me not to have a whole bunch of makeup on. He's like, you're fine how you are. Like your natural beauty is perfect. But in that moment, when I was getting ready to go see somebody who I've admired all this time, I wanted to be top par, because it's like, you're not going to just wear joggers, go meet Beyonce.
Yeah.
You're just not. And so for us, I don't think I think it's what kind of starts some arguments sometimes with men that they don't understand that part where it's like, they think we have an attitude, but it's like, I don't have attitude. It's just, I'm not feeling as confident right now. You just had to go throw a shirt on and brush your hair down.
Oh.
I'm actually there's going to be parts where their lighting could be bad and I could look like I ain't slept in 5 days. Right. Or it can make me look like a glamour model. We don't know what we're walking into. But that's one thing that in a relationship you have to also respect. Like I love that fact after telling him that he doesn't like rush me with it, or he at least gives me a proper ETA in enough time so I can get ready.
Yeah.
And so that comes from the communication of it and me expressing that part to him. Because I didn't tell him that. So now he understands, okay, babe, this is what we're going to do today. So go ahead and get yourself together. And that way I can time it out because I know me. But he also has that patience with me for it. But
and it was it's something I had to learn. I had to learn it. Because, again, there's another thing I didn't really care about. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you with me. All of the stuff you worried about. But after she did break it down to me, I said, you know what? Hey, this is one of those things I can compromise on. Because one thing you learn to pick and choose your battles. You know what I'm saying? And is it going to be the worst thing in the world to tell my wife on a daily how beautiful she is? Oh, you know what I'm saying? Because on a daily, she makes sure to let me know how much she believes in me, how much of a king I am, and how much of a great man I am. So for me to turn around and reciprocate that, give it back to her, and amplify it. Not because I don't believe in it, but because she does deserve that. And she is that. And I know that's the thing she's told me she struggled with. Right? So in knowing that, let me help that. You know what I'm saying? Because I got with you because of these reasons. And you were an attractive woman too. So we're not going to negate that fact that you were an attractive woman. So I need you to know that, baby, you know what I'm saying? Like I saw today, kissing on her. Hey.
And he even tells me I'm beautiful when he's like getting ready to go out the door and he's like waking me up slightly. He's like, "Hey, oh babe, you look beautiful." And I'm like probably eye halfway open, looking crazy. But then it's just the fact that he said it.
She do. I took a picture. I said, "This is what I see when you sleeping. This is how peaceful you look and beautiful you look." So I meant that,
I know I'm working on my positive affirmations.
And you have to have that, like, even just like I said, this having that, the fact that I was sleeping, he took that picture, and that's something that he has, and I didn't even know he did it. And to know that he saw that and knew me in just the most relaxed state, for me to actually see it and to see exactly how he is looking at me, that's a whole different type of love for yourself. Yeah. Because you see exactly through somebody else's eyes that loves you. And you're seeing the beauty that they see. So you hold on to that. And for me, that's what I hold on to the most. Where you couldn't tell me nothing. I can walk in a room and have my hair looking half head Fred. Is that what they said at camp? Half head Fred. And I would still be like, oh, my man's right here with me though. And he thinks I'm beautiful. So it don't matter.
And I want y'all to understand something. I wasn't always this guy. There's the thing. I wasn't a bad person. Yeah, okay? I just didn't feel like all that was necessary. I feel like if I'm taking care of business, I appreciate all the rest of it. You know what I mean? But people were telling me that. Like, guys would advise me that some women that I really trusted with the information was telling me, like, yo, a lot of that's going to change for you, man. A lot of it's going to change. When you start to find yourself in that place you want to be in and she walks alone, you want to change that? And I used to tell people, no. I'm good where I am. And it has. So much has changed with me. So much. And it's because of that. I identify that now. So
I'm acknowledging a lot of different things, attributes that I possess and that I don't possess, because I do get called out on that a couple times. But I'm working, and that's where we bring to that thing about like it's when it's hard in your 30s. It's like, because I'm mature in a lot of different things, but I'm so immature when it comes to some like the things that like she would really need, and that's where I'm trying to be more mature in, because she can tell you I'll laugh real quick, over a lot of stuff, and that it's not like, it's almost insensitive at times, because my aspect is like, that's like my defense, even though like it doesn't mean it's always funny, but it's just like I'm learning. And I think like even now sitting in this type of aspect, like more stuff has become a reality because we're actually all here. Everything's on us. So it's like, dang, like the pressure is here, but it's the reality of it, because I'm understanding just even in this setting.
Yeah. And I think that's coming from a standpoint, man, of you being a successful man, an established man, a man who understands what he needs to do, how he's going to do it, and you don't just talk about it. So a lot of times, man, for men like you, and when you enter in a part of a relationship, you kind of already set your standards and ways and kind of how you are. And sometimes, we forget that, there is a level of compromising forward for the right woman. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I said it because I hear this all the time. Women will say, well, I could be submissive to the right man. I could be feminine for the right man. And I'm like, man, one of the first things I loved about her is she didn't carry that mode. She's in her element regardless. When I met her, she was in a feminine mode. When I met her, she was in this mode of, I'm a wife. I'm a wife, and I walk and I act as such. I didn't have to go out here and tell her I'm finna build her house. Tell her to go, okay, I'm feminine now. I'm submissive now. She was already that thing. So I was like, oh yeah. And that was what I was talking about, that tangible stuff. Because people are believing that you have to find somebody that's in this world. Now, granted, as a man, her spending time around me, I had to show that, hey, I am who I say I am, and I'm going to continue to strive to be who I need to be. And the parts that I started to learn in the process, because like I promised her, and we was talking about, off the air of the blow up situation, is because in my hard talk, I was using scenarios to prove my point and of how men started to recognize things and move. But in it, I was shedding a light on her that didn't come off too well. And I didn't realize that until we had the conversation after the argument. And it was like, okay, and my promise to her after that, I said, I'm going to still make my point across. I'm going to still get my message out there. And I'm still talking about accountability, but I'm not going to dim your light in the process. You know what I mean? So I had to start to understand it. So now I started having these compromise levels, not because I become weak, but because I understood the woman that I had, and I was getting ready to walk into this life with.
So when it comes to those compromising things, like what is I'm hearing Corey's side, but what about you when it comes to compromising? Like, like if we're gonna do something that like do you want to ask a question?
I didn't have for me. Continue.
No, like okay, like where I'm going with this, when it comes to like, are you gonna, like, if Corey says, hey, like I want to go do this, and it's not something that you don't like to do, like a outing or something like that, like, are you gonna do it and like compromise and just do it, even though and he knows that, but it's like, are you gonna compromise for him for something that he would love to do, especially if it's with you, versus be like, nah, babe, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not going to this thing. I'm not doing this because that's just not me. Like, where do you meet that compromising to be able to meet his needs, or him being able to compromise to meet your needs? Like, how do y'all balance that?
I think it's the whole thing for me about comfort and like, even with the parts of him, like going to movie premieres, like going to like different parties, industry parties, things like that. That took a little bit for me to get used to, because I'd rather be at home with my bottle of wine and Grey's Anatomy and a nice soft pillow, and I'm good. But I know the type of man I have, and I love him so much that I feel like his energy has to be seen by other people. Like just seeing him in public and how people react to him. That's where the balance comes in, because I feel like if I keep him in, then I'm keeping him from the world. And he made, like, we had a night where homeless people were coming up to us, and we just had a couple of dollars and we gave it to them. And we needed to be there for that moment. Say we didn't go. You know, maybe that might be the dollar they needed.
What would have missed?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then I also, when you say compromise, because sometimes I might not want to go somewhere. Like today, he was gonna go. I told him yesterday. I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna ride. I'm gonna go with you. You got to pick up at 10. Oh, it's only in Frisco. Okay, babe, we're doing that together. We're going together." And I love him because he pays attention, because he was like, "You still going?" And I was like, And so then I'm like, "Well, do you want me to go?" And he's like, "I mean, I don't want you to go if you don't want to." I was like, "But I don't want you to be by yourself." "Babe, I'm good. I can entertain myself." And I'm like, okay. Even though I felt bad, and that's one thing that I have to kind of get over with it. But even in sometimes where I know he wants to go out somewhere, I don't have a problem going. Like, you kind of have to compromise and take the good with the bad with it. Because even with him, if we do go out, compromising it, we might just go out for, say we might go downtown, we might go out for like an hour and then come back here. Then I might throw something in there like, okay, well, I'll go. We can go downtown, but on the way back, you got to stop at Brahms and give me some ice cream.
So there's a
little incentives, if that's going to be the case with it. But I always check in with my partner, especially say I might have an event and I ask him to go, and then say he doesn't want to be there all day, which of course not like that. But let's just say hypothetically he didn't want to be there all day. Then I pay attention. I would communicate that with my partner, make sure we knew, okay, hey babe, we're just going to go out here for a little bit to do this, and be respectful of what my partner wants to do. Because sometimes we might go somewhere and I'm like, we might not, both of us might not want to even go, but we had to go. And once we get there, we're like, man, babe, I'm glad we stepped out tonight.
Well, because I had that same type of like energy when it came to like, the event that, we went to. Yeah. And after the event, it was like, everyone go out and celebrate, have drinks and stuff. And I'm like, like, she knows I don't do bars and stuff. And you know that. Everyone knows that. I don't like clubs. I don't like all that stuff. Right. But we went. And she's like, okay, we're going to go out for a little bit, and, that little bit, it was, you checked and she was like, okay, hey, we're about to, you good? She checked in with me throughout the whole night. Mm-hmm. Even though her coworker, whatever, was right there talking, they had a whole conversation going back and forth where I was able to interject, I did, but I was kind of, on my phone, whatever, but she still kept checking on me. Like, how you doing? Because I was good, because it wasn't even about me. This was her event, her night. Exactly. She's being celebrated for what's going on. So I'm here. Yeah. And then after that, they wanted to go to another place. And she like, you want to go? You want to go back home, whatever? And I was like, you know what? Like, I saw that she was having a good time. I kind of was having a good time because I took the shot for her, I took her shot, So I was like, let's see the vibe. The vibe's right.
You don't want to kill the vibe.
I didn't want to kill the vibe. And I was like, let's go. And I had a great time. Yeah. Even when we went to the next place, I had a great time there too. And the food was good. So, so I did not want to. And I wouldn't really say that was a compromise, because I do like being in social places, even if like, I don't intentionally want to go, right? But I still had a good time, and I'm, like you said, making the most of the time.
Exactly.
And the compromise. But like I said, I had a great time that day, and I was like, so it shows that like, okay, we're together, we're going to places. I'm having a good time because you're here. Whether you don't want to be here or I don't want to be here, we're still gonna have a good time because we're here together
and make the best of the moment.
And make the best of the moment.
And that's why. And I'll give you a perfect example. Lamar, this one because I called you. When it comes to things, that's why I don't pressure her with a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. Because, and me taking this year off has been really, really cool. But, it's kind of be stacked up sometimes with these events and appearances and different things like that. But her mode is always to be there. So when there's moments like we had today, this one, I don't force it because, I called you. I say, hey, man, your sister really sick.
Oh, no.
I know I got this show tonight and she's going to try to pull a Gina and pull up to this show. And you talk to her, you judge that, man. You feel like she good enough to get out and so, but I'm telling her, and I'm sitting there telling her, like, yo, hey, you don't have to come. Like, I know you, because that morning, while I was getting ready to go do my shows, I had to go get medicine, come back, make sure she was straight.
Through it.
You know what I'm saying? Because she was really going through it. And I told her, I said, hey, you don't have to do this. She's like, yes, I do. I said, no, you don't. Yes, I do. Okay.
Yeah.
So I said, I know what. Let me call her brother. I ain't put a stop to this. Like this. But it's that thing, her consideration of wanting to really be there for me, no matter what. So when it comes down to certain things in life, you don't have to, because I know 100% that you're behind me and you're supporting everything that I do that's moving me to wherever I need to be or where we need to be. You know what I mean? So with some of it, it's like, hey, I'm still cool. Like, you want to come, you want to come, you don't have to. But that's why I'm able to be open about a lot of this stuff, because I know for a fact that when it comes down to it, she's gonna be there for when I need her to be there. You know what I mean? So the rest of it, man, like I said, because a lot of it, I'd rather be home anyway too. I'm not a really go out person. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I'm
a homebody first.
Yes. And that's what we did. We split in our rooms, go watch our TV shows, come back, have our assessment meeting with life and love and all this stuff. And then we go back into our respective rooms and chill. And that's how we vibe. You know what I mean? Then we have our certain shows we watch together. So
certain games we'll play.
With certain games, like right now, we've been doing this thing. We'll be on our phones playing games against each other. And so we found ways to really enjoy each other's company right in the comfort of our home. And then when it's time to step out, we're going to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Because you've been quiet this last few. I want to know what's going on here.
Me? I'm listening. I'm taking it all in. And
So how are you feeling right now? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling fine. Thanks for checking.
Now I will say, like how he even with the like with the makeup and stuff, like how you said this is not about me. That's how I felt when the proposal happened. I didn't know that anything was happening, and I went to go get my hair and makeup done, my hair done. So I was rushing. I was already running late because he told me it was an award show. So I got my dress. I'm like, okay, it's an award show. It's a show about Corey. So I wasn't even thinking about like being super glamorous. And I was late on time. So I'm calling, my best friend's calling me. She's like, what you looking like? What you looking like? And I'm like, well, I'm already behind. I was going to throw on some foundation and some eyeliner and we'll call it a day. Mm-hmm. My hair's done. You know, maybe the lighting will be low. We ain't got to worry about it. I ain't got time. She's like, no, stop. Do your makeup. Take the time. Go ahead and do your makeup. It's okay. I'm like, no, I'm going to be late. It's not about me. It's about Corey. This whole day is about Corey. Like, what do you mean? I'm not. It doesn't matter about me and how I look. No. Stop. Put your makeup on. Like, my best friend was like, for real. And then, of course, I'm glad she did say something. Because, of course, you know.
It turned into a
whole engagement. But for that moment, like, that's where I knew with him, I was my most comfortable self. Whether I had makeup on, whether I had sweats on and my hair just came out of some braids. Like, he loves me in all of that. Even when I have my hair blown out, he'll come in there and blow dry with me. So he sees that portion where we're looking like Albert, like we got shocked. Yeah. And hair is everywhere. And he still loves me. The fact that he even comes in and helps, you know, acts of service. He's doing all kinds, and they're telling me I'm still beautiful. So he's doing so many different love languages all in one. And that's like a big key thing is the fact that he acknowledges my love languages. And like one thing when I had my dating profile, one thing I had like on the little header, and I took it off before you saw it.
I never read none of it.
I know you did. I know you did.
I took the swiping and stuff.
Yeah, I saw it. Yep.
Well, then I cleared everything off. I think I left like 2 pictures because I was telling you earlier, like some days were horrible. And I literally said I want somebody who I can dance to music in the living room on Saturday night, a night in, and someone to dance with me in the living room. And that's one of the first things he did. I didn't even tell him. Like, it wasn't even on my profile. And that's one thing that we did. One night we just sat out here and we just danced in the living room.
Yeah.
Oh. Just little things.
Here's one more thing I will inject on it. I've never even told her. And when we was talking about the level of understanding and hearing, because what she's been through previously, prior to me, even on a physical level, and I know we never really talked about that in the shows, is one of the reasons I knew the identification of our relationship couldn't be based on arguing heavy. Because I know I'm a statuesque dude. I know I'm twice her size. And I didn't want our arguments to be a trigger to her that didn't allow us to find some middle ground into understanding how we were going to move. I didn't want her to fear that every time that we got into an argument and I raised her up like this, then it's a thought of, how far will he go with this? So I had to keep that in mind. That's why after the second one, I said, hey, you know what? We have to change it. Not for the sake of just of an argument, because I didn't want to keep her in a lane or in a space that she never got to get out of her comfort zone and trust me really. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. To trust the fact that I really wasn't going to go there physically with her. So it had to be a way to find a better way to communicate that we could actually have a conversation and her not be one in the back of her mind, like, I don't know, will he go there? You know what I mean? Because I know as men, sometimes we're passionate. Sometimes our passion comes off like it's finna be aggressive. But it ain't just like, come on, man, no. If you sitting there, you gonna see that, what you think gonna happen? And it ain't the fact that I'm finna come across something and smack you. It's just like, yo, listen, you don't see it? Right. Oh my God. You know what I mean? And so I had to feel like, okay, I gotta communicate a little bit. I gotta still be stern in what I'm doing because I need to get her away from these emotions on every single thing, on things that it's not gonna let her grow. But understand how to process this logic. And man, when I say this woman, she's transformed into doing that, man, it's helped me out some situations where my emotions got the better of me and she had to go, hey, take it back. What would logic do? And I'm like, you right. So that was another thing. I've never said that to her, but that's another thing of why I changed my tune and tone about things and the way I handle her with her.
That's understood though, babe. And I mean, honestly, I appreciate that because like how he said, I haven't gone, into detail of it, but Lamar knows, people closest to me, know that situation. So to get with Corey and like with those arguments, that is a spot that it was like a trigger for me because it started with yelling and, different things like that. And the fact that he acknowledged it so early on where, like we said, we had 2 big blow ups where they were yelling 2. That was it. And that was like what, July of last year?
It was early.
It was really early on. Like yeah. And it's the fact that that when my dad said that he felt safe, that when Lamar said that he felt safe with me being with him, and my best friend, and those are all 3 people, including my mom, who all experienced it firsthand. So that was what I needed because I knew how I felt. But to actually have the most important people to me acknowledge it and acknowledge what the safety that I felt with him. Yeah. I think, I don't even know if you remember me crying at the table. No, I don't think you were there. Yeah, no, you weren't there. But I remember my dad saying that, and that just brought tears of joy. Yeah. Because I knew how I felt, but I knew my family was going to be the main thing to get that yes for him because they know what I've been through, so they're not going to let me just go easily with them, Yeah. And I love that part. That you made me feel safe and secure. Like he's my base. He's my safe place.
Mm-hmm. But it's scary too. Yeah. It's scary. And I know we talked about this off air. It's scary because one thing about it is when men get into a position, they can kind of vet a dude and see a dude who he is. You know what I'm saying? I think that's why that's why women, if you got family, start taking those guys back around. When you feel like, okay, my intentions is to probably marry this guy down the road. Take him around some older men in your family. Because quickly they can kind of see through the mess or the BS. Because, we talked about women not feeling protected because a lot of times those warning signs will come from like, hey, I don't got a good vibe with him. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I've heard so many cases where women the family members of women said, we try to tell her, but she don't want to listen to us. And I think we had to get back to vetting, let the families vet. We had to get back to this foundation stuff because it was important for me to meet our brother and our father and to let them really see who I was physically before I ever popped the question. Because I wanted them to understand who I was, how I was moving, and the lanes that I was wanting to grow in. You know what I'm saying? So they can authentic. Because then once they gave that blessing on it, I wanted to handle it with care because I'm a father. I have daughters. I'm also a brother. All that stuff. So when you think about your loved one being a female into somebody's hand, you want to know that when you go to sleep at night, you're not getting no call that this food done beat her up, this food done killed her, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because, I've been a part of a murder-suicide situation. I've been a part of trying to protect a family member who was so gun hold behind a man that she didn't want to be protected. You know what I'm saying? And that's tough. But, and I'll say this, man, women, y'all, if you got some great men in your life, listen to them. Listen to them. It'll save you sometimes from a bunch of headache and heartache that you have to go through with a deadbeat dumbass.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
That's true. In all honesty, that's one thing that I could say is the compromise and the communication and thinking logically, like not you putting the emotions in it. And that's one thing that's the biggest turnaround for me is not being in my emotions. Like actually thinking logically. Because of course, automatically when something happens, and me and him went through so much before the wedding and then so much hit us right after the wedding to where the best part was we had each other and we just knew, okay, let me go to my safe place because we're gonna lean on each other and make it through this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We had so many things hitting us, and it wasn't like with our relationship. That's the craziest part, was that it wasn't something between me and him. It was everything happening around us.
Wow.
And it just was like we were under attack. But we stood firm, and even on the days like how he said, I had to kind of teach him, make him be like, hey, think logically. And he had days where he had to come do that for me. And that's definitely what marriage and relationship is, being that better. I know how people say like it's 50-50, but in the relationships, it honestly is 100-100, because that way when you're feeling at 50%, I can go ahead and pour some into you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it goes with me and him. Like, that's the best way I can say what makes us work, and where we have no regrets. A year, almost, what? No. We've been together a year. But getting into married, being married 3 months. Yeah, we've been married 3 months.
Yeah.
To where we don't regret it, because all this stuff we were doing ahead. We were getting everything out there way ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing to do too.
So let me ask y'all this then. With how we move, do y'all feel that people need to be there needs to be love and best friends type stuff going on for people to step into that line?
You don't think so?
Oh no, I'm not talking. I'm looking at you.
I feel like I would like my partner to be like a best friend to me. Yeah.
Initially? Like, he needs to be that initially?
Nah, I don't believe that.
Before saying I do. You need him to be the best friend before saying I do.
I think so.
Why is that?
Because I feel like I think of my best friends right now, right? These are people who have my back.
Uh-huh.
Whenever I need anything, I can go to them, talk to them. They will do whatever I need them, and just someone who I know I can trust, wholeheartedly. So I think of
best friend or
like
close
that.
friend?
Close friend.
Mm.
We have this thing of,
Nah.
so he has a bunch of best friends. And I told him, if you're so your best friend, that's it. Best means one. Like, your best is your, you have close friends and you have a best friend. So that's why.
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, because I guess if you look at the traits of your close or your best friends, you want that in, the relationship, because at the end of the day, it's going to supersede what you do with what your friends are, because we're supposed to be able to talk to each other about stuff that we're not going to talk to everyone else about.
Yeah.
Or you want the security of being able to tell me something that I'm not going to go tell,
Yeah.
or have a discussion or whatever. Because I'm the type of person, like, I discuss a lot of stuff, but there's key things that I don't discuss, or there's a snapshot of it, but I'm not going to give you all the detail. Like, I have a snapshot about what's going on, but I feel like at the end of the day, we're the first to communicate this stuff so we can know how we can move, because we're supposed to be doing all that together, not separate. So, and the whole aspect of being like, oh yeah, like best friends first and stuff. No, because you know how long it took for my best friend to become my best friend.
Right.
So you feel like you're gonna do it quicker?
No.
It's a time thing.
No, it's not a time thing. It's just that it did, like, for the sense of being a best friend. That's not like, because I feel like a relationship like that between two people is deeper than, because it's deeper. It's kind of different.
Yeah.
See, but I was thinking about that today with the girls that I call like my closest friend back at home. So I was thinking about, the term soulmates or whatever. And I was thinking that maybe like, soulmates don't necessarily have to be like your husband or wife, but your soulmate could be a best friend type of person, It's like, or I think about with my good friends, like I would do anything with them, besides being intimate, so like where it to me would be the same, everything I talk to them about, I would talk to my partner about everything, I don't.
But see, that kind of what would change the course of it, right? Because the intimacy brings about another level of feeling for a person.
Right.
Okay. But we started as best friends, like the same level of best friends I would with my girlfriends. I'm with my partner. Only difference is we
We're
have that.
intimate.
So how long do you take?
Whatever.
How long do you take to take a text for a person to figure out I'll marry this person?
Ooh,
How long does it take?
I don't know. I think it's different for everybody, right?
I would say that, because some people don't realize what's in front of them and what they need, what they want. Some people don't even realize that. Like you said, you saw what you wanted right there. What you said, 2 days and 3 days into February?
Yeah.
What was
3
it?
days?
3 days. The
In 3
fourth
days.
The fourth day I knew it. The fourth day I knew it.
I
He gave
don't
me the
know.
key and everything.
Really?
He told me to think about it, and I was like,
Bro.
You didn't think he was insane and you should run for your life?
no, you know, and you know why?
No, but
No,
that's a good thing because that's what we talked about.
We did talk about this, and you know why it didn't make me feel like he was crazy and this dude?
Yeah.
Because my relationship prior to him, I was with for 7 years.
Come on.
I had to give him an ultimatum in order for him to do a Hail Mary and propose. And then when it goes into trying to talking about the wedding, he didn't want to plan any of it. He didn't want to do nothing. So really, you just did a Hail Mary to make me stay. And one thing, I tried everything. We did counseling, everything. And one thing that I said was the fact that my faith is so strong. And that we have been together. We've been living in this house, all this stuff, 7 years.
Right.
My biggest thing was that you don't want to talk about a wedding or plan a wedding, knowing how important it was and the reason why I wanted to get married. And I told him at that point, and the counselor loved it. She said, I said this, but I said, you're playing with my soul.
Right.
Because my biggest thing is I want to be married and be covered and be blessed under this covenant.
Yeah.
And do what's right in God's eyes. I don't want to sit in here and trying to make sure I'm doing this and this for you and making sure I'm keeping you, because if I'm not giving it up, and you might try and go find it somewhere else. But then guess what? I got to go run into the bathroom and making sure I'm praying, because guess what? My faith is so big in God that I'm like, dang, I know what I did was a sin.
Right.
Versus where we're married and I don't have that. I can go roll over and go to sleep and sleep peacefully. You know, I'm not going to, miss the Lord coming. If he decides to go off in the middle of the night, I know I'm going in that number. You know what I mean? Versus how it was.
Go off the other night.
Exactly. Better wake up call for that. But I mean, for me, that was what was a big thing, was that I spent 7 years with somebody where in the end I had to basically beg them then to find out that, hey, guess what? They really didn't even like me. They wanted a whole bunch of other stuff. I wasted all those years with somebody who wasn't even sure about me.
Come on. Preach.
And then I meet a man who sees everything that I was. Everything. Got to know me. Everything. And knew instantly. And everything that he was saying was genuine. It wasn't anything that he was, blowing smoke up my butt or anything like that. Like, he was so genuine. He was so honest. And he gave me everything in 3 days that I didn't get in 7 years. Mm-hmm. And it's the fact that the person I was with before thought I was just a piece of trash and a piece of coal and threw it out on the street. But then here comes this man who's like, Dad, who threw that diamond out there? Mm. So some people don't realize that. You want to sit there and put all these, y'all throwing diamonds away. So somebody came by and appreciated the diamond. And said, I'm not supposed to leave this here for somebody else to get it. Let me go ahead and snatch this up. Let me go ahead and take it home and polish it and make sure it knows how beautiful and precious it is. And that's how I have felt every single day. And that's why it was so easy for me to run to the altar. I mean, I think they were making fun of me because you see me running.
Yes, he walking
down
fast. I looked the video. I was like, you were walking fast.
Because there's just so much stuff that I was like, okay, this is it. We're getting to the finish line. This man is my goal. I'm not going to let another minute go by.
And it wasn't even I would say from my perspective, it's not even like, well, you know what? Like, I'm settling. I'm taking this because I done waited all this time. That's not even settling. That's like, like you said, I waste all this time, and then someone's coming and showing me my worth, showing me all this stuff. Mm-hmm. So, and because it's not like they just got married the next day, but it was just like, we're doing this, we're going to move forward. And from my perspective, I saw so much like that they went through stuff. Like I always tell people, I saw what y'all went through more within that year than people go through in 20 years.
Come on.
So if y'all ain't supposed to be together, then if that wasn't a big enough sign, like that means if you're able to go through a lot of different stuff with that one person, then like, hey, in a short amount of time. So it's like, they're there for each other and all of a sudden. So I'm looking at that. And so in my head, and you probably could even say it's like, I was looking at, like, I don't say I'm time stamping stuff, but I look ahead because that's just how my mindset always been, but doesn't mean that's always what's supposed to work. And I've called myself out on that. It's like, yeah, like this how it is, and you're supposed to deal with this. No, you don't not supposed to deal with it. I gotta deal with that because I gotta work on being better. So I'm not putting all this pressure on myself, putting so much pressure into this relationship, because that's really why it's been a rough few weeks because we have so much pressure where it's a lot of pressure because we want to do this, we want to see this, we want to look at this, but it's still too much For now, we're just like, no, we got to live in the moment. We got to live in the moment. And I'm learning that because I've always like, okay, I'm planning this, I'm doing that. But I'm not even stopping to think about how we're even feeling right now.
Exactly.
You know, I can plan months in advance, but I'm like, and then even today I said, why are we worrying about, taking pictures, and I don't even want to say it. Why are we worrying about something that we're doing later in the year when we can't even make it through the day? That's what I said, you know, but it was a little, I'm going to say it was a little insensitive. I can admit that it was insensitive, but because she's telling me something that's going to bring her joy later in the year.
Right.
But I'm just like, you know, like we got to focus on the joy that we can bring together right now. Mm-hmm. And we wasn't bringing a lot of joy this past week. We wasn't. Right. You know, we had little moments, but I'm learning about being more consistent. And like I told her that it's not, like, for me, it's not easy. It's not easy dating in my 30s. You know, it's not. And I keep telling her I don't want to keep doing stuff that's going to ruin it. Yeah. You know, because I don't like, it's like I can be sabotaging it and not even realize I'm sabotaging it. Mm-hmm. And I don't realize what I have next to me. Yeah. You know, that someone's taking time to put up with me because I say I'm not easy. Yeah. Am I? I'm not easy, am I? I'm not. I'm not. So anyone that's sitting right next to me and taking the time out, like, right. You somebody.
For you, we have prayed.
Yes, please.
But then I also said in the beginning, I said when she had called me out on something, and I said, dang, is this going to be the type of person that's going to put me in my place? Because usually folk don't tell me nothing. Like, they scared to tell me stuff or they approach me, but like, because I can have intimidations around, but I'm like, dang, is this somebody gonna put me in my place?
That's what you need.
I don't know. That's what you need. You know, like I said, I'm aggressive. I'm strong-willed, and like I said, I don't want no one that's gonna tell me yes. I kind of want someone that can balance me out. Be like, hey, you know what? No, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm gonna bring to the table, and then we make our decision versus like, no, what I say goes because you know like I said, men. Like I said before, men are always taught to, you have to do this, you have to provide, you have to do this. But I was like, sometimes, like I want, like with me, I told her I've done so much that I was like, I need some of that pressure taken off of me because I done did all this, and then I'm
even the consideration of the pressure,
or the consideration,
Yeah, just long as I know you, and that's because that's what I respect about what she does. It's just being considerate of, hey, I'll take a couple books off your back. Mm-hmm. Then I go, no, don't do it. I got it anyway. But the fact that I know she's willing to do that, yo, let's go. Right?
And then to me, like with Tila, like she been doing good. It's almost like, why do I need you and why do you need me when we both have done so much on our own? Right. So now I'm like, okay, we can bring that together and build even more versus like, okay, well, shoot, do I really need you or do you really need me? Because we don't really need each other like that. But I heard something that's like, I don't need you. I want you.
Yeah, I want.
You know.
But it's so. But if we really dig down in how we.
But I do need you.
There's a necessity because the world is telling us we don't, and the world is really putting in women, especially black women, hey, you don't need a man. Mm-hmm. You can get by without a man. And technology is making women think that, but we don't, man. Y'all, we need each other. There is a necessity there. Let me ask this question. Tila, I'm gonna put this on you.
Okay. Do
you think a woman at 35 can compete with her 25-year-old self?
Can she compete with herself?
Her 25-year-old self. Her 35-year-old version self with her 25-year-old self.
Yeah.
She can?
I think so.
How so?
As far as like what looks and what she has in life.
All that.
Because that's what I think. I think right now we have this mindset, we're scared of aging, right? Everybody wants to get all this kind of surgery, do all these things and stuff. But I think you can age gracefully. I feel like, so Tila today at 35 would be more wise than she was at 25, right? I'm doing different things now than I was doing there. I'm making better decisions. I'm picking better partners. A lot of ways, the maturity is there, you know? And then if you're taking care of yourself, eating right and working out, you can be banging at 35. Like,
right, but how many women at 35 you think actually do that? Because think about this. Everything that you just said also leads up to the fact that most of them by 35 have been scarred, abused, beat on, talk crazy to.
They don't even consider the 25-year-old stuff. That's what I would say.
They don't consider.
Some of them don't even consider that because like you said, if they've done been through this, and this, they're just stuck in a mindset, not even worrying about what had happened. And so they're just like, it's like you got to break that.
It is. Because it would be easier for me to be in a relationship with your 25-year-old self and your 35-year-old self if you hadn't healed or been through therapy. Because remember, PTSD don't just come from people going to war. It's anything that traumatically sets you off to trigger you behind something. So for a lot of people and especially in our community, a lot of people don't go to therapy. So we don't really get healed. And we take that into the neck, and then something triggers us and we snap. Yeah. And I asked that question because if the intention of getting with somebody is to marry them, then what would be the hold up on the way to go to that level? That's why I say, to me, it don't take between 1 to 6 months for you to figure out. Because only reason I'm saying that, she said she was with a guy for 7 years.
Yeah.
He wasted 7 years of her best years. Because if we're talking about fertility, youth, look, health, all that stuff, that's between that 25 to 35 range. For most men that come in and looking for, because think about it, when a man decides to give you his legacy, the first things he looks for is youth, purity. Because think about it, the 25-year-old virgin, maybe if she wasn't some model stuck out there and being about every yacht, she has less bodies on her.
At 25?
You know what I'm saying? She has less bodies on her. She has less damage to her. She has less trauma to her. So now if I'm an established man, I can actually teach her this program and she gets with it before somebody ever really poisons her mind in that sense. And I think that's what happens for a lot of guys, why older men tend not to get it. And I will say this too, the more successful a woman is, the harder it is.
That's true.
When she gets older. Because her dating pool, because y'all tend to date across and up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that for that, it gets really, really small because when you get to that age, the guys that you really want don't really want you like that. They rather go for the 25-year-old version of you. Because at least I could probably on a probability scale have kids with her before then. You know what I'm saying? And give her that. Because that and that's why we don't really like the access to our women like that. Because when a guy gets you pregnant, without a doubt, he wants to know that baby's mine. And I think modern era teaches women, like, I'm a bad bee, I don't do this. You can't stop me. Men are intimidated. I just don't want to tolerate that. Mm-hmm. Because if I give you because when I come in your life, my span is to give you my resources and my legacy. And if you tank that, as a man, what else do I have left? And then you can go to court and take it all from me. So what do I have left now that you've taken what I built to become this top dog? See, I did the coat thing.
I see your little
yeah. Okay. What do I have left? And I don't think women think about that. But I'll digress. Go ahead.
I don't know. I feel like it's that mindset though. It's kind of what's harming women of a certain age, that a lot of men are saying things like that, making women at 35 and in our 30s feel like we are less than those young girls. And when we are trying to compete so hard with them for the management or whatever the reason is, I think that's what's damaging women of a certain age. And I think we got to get out of that mindset of feeling like or majority. I don't know that I feel like a majority of women are so damaged like that. Like I don't know. Maybe they are, but my friend group is not as damaged as so. I don't know. Maybe they could be, but I don't think we should think of older women as being more damaged and more. Some of us are not.
But see, nothing is absolute. Yeah. But when we have these discussions, women like to go. Like if I say there's 20 dudes over there and there's 20 women over there,
yeah,
they're gonna get on this bench and they're gonna bench 200 pounds 15 times. All the men do it, and then 5 women over here do it. When we have the debate, the women will talk about the 5 women, and we'll go, "Yeah, but that's extreme. That's an exception. They're unique women." So every woman is not damaged, but majority of them come. Because if this, I'm going to give you a fun fact. 1 in 4 men are virgins. Less than 39% of the men in the U.S. population reported to have sex weekly. 20% of the men are actually mating with 80% of the women. So that means because remember, men have sex with who they can, women have sex with who they want. Because we have to earn it, and women are not having sympathy sex. So there's a lot of guys that women never ever see in the first place. So if those are returning, that's why we get a lot of men ain't spit statuses, because women find out they date the same caliber of dudes, but it's their preference. The preference comes to over 6'2", athletically built, 6 figures, very attractive. That's less than 14% of the population, and in the black community, less than 2%. Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, a lot of those women are scarred by the time they get to 35 because they've been, in their region, they've been dealing with the same BS man. While the good man gets friend zoned. Because he doesn't fit the metrics that women are saying that they would like the guy to be by.
I don't know. I'm feeling like there's a lot of men out here that shouldn't have no women and got women all day long. Right now, these men is winning. They can be fat, funny looking, and ain't got money, and they out here winning. I didn't see it's a different world out here.
Yeah, but
these men is getting it.
Those men are established men. If Fat Chris is broke in 2018,
if he can buy,
but in 2020 he's a millionaire,
somebody
Fat Chris now can go have sex with the woman he wants to because she'll take that. But what I'm saying is,
I know a lot of like successful women who are dating down. Actually, you know, the guy don't have all these things, but sometimes the women just want a little company, a little attention. I think
she never respects him.
Yeah,
when she dates down,
that's true.
Because eventually it comes down to what he brings to the table, and if it doesn't match her level,
and exactly because, like I said, you want to be able to match. You want to be able to find someone that is that can take you and elevate it more. Because like if you over here making $80K and I'm over here making you over here making $80K, I'm just a regular Joe. I'm intimidated by you because I'm like, shoot, she got me, like, I don't know, you know. But and so if you're gonna settle for me because you just want to have a little company and stuff, like you said, yeah, you aren't gonna respect me, and I'm just like a toy.
Yeah,
I'm just here. Yeah. But when most women right there, they don't think like, okay, I want to find a dude. Okay, if you're making 80, I want to make 100 or 120 because I want to do more than what you was already doing.
Right. Okay, so let me use this one example though. What you think about this? So I was talking to this one guy who basically I feel like he was probably a date down for me. But his mindset, and this is a couple of guys I know actually too, is to date somebody that has a little bit more, you know, those type of women are more, I don't know, more attractive because of whatever reason.
Status.
Yeah, and that's the type. So he already knows that you're not really in my whatever status bracket, whatever you want to call it. But that's the type of women that, you know, they seek.
Yeah. Is he an attractive dude?
Yeah.
Is he well built in a sense?
Yeah.
Well, see, he could get by for a minute. He can get by on his looks and sex, because those were. And then what happens a lot of times, those women are the women now that the men that they want don't want anymore. So they will slide to a guy like that because because see, understand this, on a guy like that. Sometimes when you walk as an older woman or a woman that's established and you know kind of got out your lane and he's attractive, that can still bring you attention in a sense. But that's a very small number. That's why it's one of those things it's hard to go to, because here's the thing that we don't look at as well. When it comes down to the whole metrics of this, what makes Lamar successful is he's ambitious. He's assertive. He's a leader. You know what I'm saying? He's direct, right? But women don't understand those same metrics in a woman. That same thing that men are attracted by. I don't look for you to be like, if you became successful, you had to have masculine energy because you had to make people respect you. You know what I'm saying? If you was in a field where you're working about around men, you had to kind of get to those men level and you had to kind of do that. But what happens is when you become successful, a lot of women don't turn it off. And then you'll get with a man and think it's intimidation, but he's like, nah, because I'm not going to tolerate that. I'm not going to be in competition with a woman, because remember, men are looking for wives, not partners. CEO will never put two CEOs in front of a building. But what it is the people in the organization work in their lanes to make the company run. And that's what happens. It doesn't make women less, because women are better at things than we are, and we're better at women. And when we put them things together, we conquer a whole lot. But what women have a hard time swallowing is when you say, play your role, women think it's a thing of taking a back seat. But at the end of the day, men bring value from resources, and women add value and multiply a lot of that stuff. And I think that's where we're losing the fight at, because most women want to compete with their men now because they're successful women. And the feminist movement is telling them, hey girl, you don't really need that man. Move him out the way. You could be successful without it. And you know what happened? A lot of those millionaires are now doing YouTube videos talking about, man, I was happier when I was in my 2-bedroom apartment. Now I got a $6 million house and I'm alone because I can't find a guy to be with, because they chose their career over family. Because think about this. When Nana came down here and we all surrounded her and we were singing and having a good time, when she get in certain rooms, she's responsible for 70% of the people being here because it came from her. And now at 70 to 80 years old, we celebrate her. But see, women don't look at that anymore. Your thing is when you get to this earth and you have children and all that stuff, and someday when it all sets down, we're going to celebrate you because everybody here is because of you. But most women choose their career over their family. And when they get ready to have a family, nobody wants to have a family with them. And that's what they can't accept. That's the hard pill to swallow. Because now he'd rather go have it with the younger girl who's more fertile at that time, who's probably a little more attractive, who has youth on her side. Because remember, we may have changed the laws, but the identity of what we did hadn't changed. Because what would happen? Man used to walk to that man's house and say, man, I want your daughter over here. Just because the law changed don't mean the ideology of men changed. Statistics show men 18 to 65 prefer women 21 to 29. That's a hard pill to swallow. And what they do now to make men feel bad is call men perverts behind it. Because they want to shoo men from thinking like that because those older women still want those men to be attracted to them. And sometimes your level of success turns men away from you because of that.
I feel like sometimes too, though, that level of success is born out of a necessity. You know, like
right.
I don't have that husband, so I got to provide for myself. Agreed. So I got to do what it takes to, work my way up and provide for myself because I don't have him. Right. He's not an option. He just ain't around. I can't. I don't know where he's at. So I don't. Not to say either way, but I'm just saying sometimes, we can't help him. Not we can't help, but we can't help it. We got to do what we got to do. A lot of times too, women, we don't just take care of I take care of my mom. We take care of the community. My small business supports all these people. So. I don't know. So that's the thing.
Listen, a whole 100% agree with you. Won't argue that one bit. The problem is when you get a man that walks in your life and he shows you, hey, I'm this man. I'm resourceful. Step back. Get all that stuff out of there. And get with the program and y'all build it. The problem is most don't want to let go of that power and control because they think it makes them weak now or it makes them that they're going to get stuck behind. You know what I'm saying? The thing that I encourage my wife on is because I know my wife has a light and she has something to say out here. And I keep telling her, when she finds that niche for this, I sure gonna go to the next level because it's gonna come out from her. It's gonna come from her. She was willing to step in that place and, you know what I'm saying, and say, and be in her femininity, but understand that, hey, I got something that God is trying to put me in a position to do. And she put in a place where I got the resources to give that to her. That's the difference why people didn't understand why Jay-Z and Beyonce, when all that happened, Beyonce didn't walk away. Because she still understood that the bigger picture is Jay-Z brought a value to her life that was much bigger than him sticking his penis in somebody else. And that's a hard pill to swallow because instinctively, for men, since the beginning of time, it was for us to have sex with a variety of women. The top dogs always had it. You go back in the Bible days up until now. You saw that. The thing that we do when we get out here, we fight that urge to stay with one woman when we decide to be faithful, is to get at the one woman. But women keep thinking, for men, when they do step out, it's this thing that, oh, he don't love you. No. Polygamy was one of the biggest things that started it. It was the Western civilization. The only thing that changed this is your moral compass toward believing in God or Western civilization. Outside of that, everything was around polygamy. If you could afford, in some countries still adopted, if you could afford to keep the women in the same conditions, you can have them. But here in America, we look at it differently, which I'm not pushing polygamy on the people. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, man, there are some things that we got to redirect if we're gonna do this from a monogamous world. Because when I was doing poly, I used to laugh at the monogamous world because, hey, at least we live in honest with each other about the people we're dealing with. Y'all are in monogamous relationship and still dealing secretly with other people. You know what I'm saying? But talking crazy about us. So now I choose to give my energy to one woman and I stick with that because I choose to fight that instinct daily. I choose to live on what I told her that I promised with her. You know? And I think that's a bigger conversation that's never been had because everything looks like, oh, men gonna be men. No, some men not gonna be there, but y'all not choosing the men that don't want to be there because he your friend. If you look at most attractive women, they friend zone the men that will want to be there.
The final thoughts is what I'm getting from dating in your 30s is it's a little hard.
Yeah.
It's a little bit hard. I can even say for me, I got married at 20. I wasn't even old enough to drink. We and my ex-husband went out to eat and we had to show our military ID, show him we had the same last name for me, have a glass of wine. I wasn't even old enough to drink. So at that time, like you said, and he was older than me. My husband was 14 years older than me, and I was 20 years old.
Wow.
And at the time when we got married, so I get it's definitely backs it up to what he was saying. But then also, I turned 35 and I got married to this amazing man. So there's still hope with the younger ones, in my eyes, with the ones that are 20 and with the ones that are 35. I see that, yes, I agree that there is, or like I said, there is a time clock, especially once you hit your 30s. Like once 30, everybody like, when you're 29, you get ready to turn 30. It's like, oh, Lord, with 30, what we going to do? Jesus. And then once you turn 35, I was like, wait, now we at the halfway point. Okay, I got to start doing something. Then we have to start giving in. And for him to show up. So I can, just for me, dating in the 30s, I can agree it's a little bit harder. It's difficult. It's a little bit more difficult than it was in my 20s. But then it also came down to the mindset.
And I will say, I actually had told myself, I was like, if I'm not at least talking to someone and getting serious with someone by a certain age, like I would just be perfectly fine.
That's what everybody needs.
And so now, but like that's what I had said, at the time, and I was like, now I'm like it's like I didn't even plan none of this, so it's kind of just like,
And that's the best way to go with it, because like I told Corey, I was going to delete the app before Valentine's Day, and he just happened to sneak in the night before, and it was the best decision I made with him, taking that conversation. So I gave it one more roll. And then I hit the jackpot. So,
what's your final thought?
I agree with like everything y'all saying. It's tough out here. I'm just gonna keep pushing. That's it.
It's tough. It is tough out there, but you know what? That's what we're here for. We're here to kind of walk everybody through, get everybody's thoughts and opinions on it. So we really, really appreciate y'all coming in. I know it's getting late, but I appreciate you coming all the way from Wichita Falls.
Thank you.
And you coming
up the street
from the street to come on our show, because I know last week we had Miss Rhonda and Mr. Leroy, who they've been together 40 years. So I'm glad that we have, fresh, and get the ones that are the singles and the experience in the 30s. So I do appreciate y'all coming on.
You for having us.
And that's a wrap.